Thank you everyone for joining us for the launch of the Hopeful Cities campaign. Today we have Reno Mayor Hillary Sheevy, we have Catherine Getsky, the iFred founder, and the brains behind Hopeful Cities, and we also have Dr. Myron Belfer. So Mayor, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt. First of all, I hope everyone had a nice Christmas. It's always so hard to get right back into the swing of things on Monday, isn't it? So I appreciate everyone's time and being here. And many of you have been on my pressers for my COVID committee for months now. But one of the things that we've been working hard on as well, that many of you probably don't know, is the science of hope, and to launch an initiative called Hopeful Cities, which I'm really excited about because we keep talking about this tidal wave of COVID and the first wave and the second wave. And really what I think is going to be the biggest tidal wave sort of affecting all of us across the country and across the world, honestly, is our mental health. And so I really got passionate about bringing something to the city that we could all embrace, and that is the science of hope. And I was just reading some statistics that with every COVID death, there are 10 people grieving, and I actually think that is a very, very low number, quite honestly, if you think about sort of the unrelated deaths to COVID and not being able to be around family and friends to celebrate their life, or just sort of the loneliness that everyone is feeling in isolation, and just the toll that it's taken on us mentally, I think is something that we have to pay attention to. And it's something that I think every city is going to find a massive challenge in if we don't start addressing what the after effects are going to be on our mental health. But so much of this pandemic, we've been working on our physical health. And so I'm really excited to launch this initiative. We are the first in the country to do Hopeful Cities, and other mayors across the country are excited to adopt this initiative. But as you guys all know, I'm a very competitive mayor, so I always like to be the first out of the gate. And so we're excited to launch this pilot. I have some incredible guests with me today. Today we have Catherine Getsky, who has just been a tremendous advocate in mental health. She's known all over the country for all her work on the science of hope. And then we have someone incredibly special, and that's Dr. Belfer. Nice to meet you. And by the way, happy birthday from all of us here at the city of Reno. See, you didn't know that, but a little birdie told us that it was your birthday. So we're grateful that you're spending your birthday with us, Dr. Belfer. But you have an impressive resume. You were with the WHO for, I think, 5 years or so. I read up on you, and you're just impressive. So I am so grateful to have you here and to launch our Hopeful Cities initiative. But you are a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. And then also you are the senior associate in psychiatry at Boston Children's Hospital. And you're going to talk to us today about the science of hope and everything behind that and the studies. And I just think it's so fascinating, because what we really know is that hopelessness is the root of anxiety and depression, and so many things that fester inside of us. And I don't think that we've done a great job of learning how to handle and manage those kinds of things. So I want to be a city that embraces that. So I'm grateful that you're here. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about the science of hope?
Well, thank you very much, Mayor. It's a great pleasure to be here today. And I want to congratulate the Reno City Council, yourself, in other words, Catherine Getsky, and the many other people who I'm sure helped to bring this Hopeful Cities launch to fruition. My interest in hope began actually when I was doing clinical work at the Boston Children's Hospital. And I'll tell you just a very brief story, which I think is important. I worked with the surgeons at Children's Hospital and at the Brigham Women's Hospital. And I observed that one of the very famous surgeons working with head and neck cancer patients who had a terrible prognosis. In other words, that he never spoke to them about prognosis. In other words, he always spoke with them about what their next procedure would be. I realized after a while that what he was doing was actually offering them hope. Okay. If he focused on what he was going to do surgically, it would have raised a lot of other questions. In other words, but he offered, in other words, the idea that there was hope for the future. And I think that that, without his knowing it, actually drew on a lot of studies, both in religious studies and in other medical studies, showing that hope is both a protective factor and also a factor that helps people to actually live longer. There are studies that show that people who have hope, in other words, live longer. In other words, they're better able to overcome illness. They're better able to overcome stresses of a variety of types. It's always been thought until Catherine and her group of researchers did work in this area that it was sort of amorphous. Okay, well, hope is a nice concept. It's like optimism. It's like a lot of good things. But actually, through the research that Catherine's group did and many and others, in other words, it's been shown that you can operationalize hope, that actually you can teach hope. And that's a breakthrough. In other words, the idea that you can set up a curriculum, that you can set up public information, that you can get people to think about hope and to embrace it, to utilize it in their everyday life. And when this has been done, and it's been done in Northern Ireland, in Asia, elsewhere, studies have been done to evaluate the operating of hope, making it feasible. That these studies have shown that it really works, that you can do it, not only with children, but with adults. And I think this is particularly important because we're now with the COVID-19 and with the fear of illness, with the fear of death, with the fear of loss of job. Parents, in other words, have anxiety, depression, and this resonates with their children. In other words, the children adopt the same fears, the same concerns. So you have a whole family, sometimes a whole community that lives with this kind of anxiety and depression. And I think Hopeful Cities and the kind of curriculum that Hopeful Minds offers, in other words, can bring about a major change in both attitude and I hope outcomes. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if in Reno you can demonstrate really more positive outcomes, not see the kinds of disruption and dismay that have embraced so many other cities, in other words, and made life so difficult. So I'm happy to answer questions, but I think this is really quite a remarkable accomplishment, and I wish you the very best. I do anything possible to be supportive of it because no, I think other people are going to want to emulate you. In other words, I think it's the important thing is that hope is not stigmatizing. Okay, you're not saying to people, go see the psychiatrist, in other words, and you'll be better. You're really saying that you can focus on something very positive and have a good outcome. And I think that's really important.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about so many people right now are feeling hopelessness, especially whether you've had COVID-19, you've lost someone to COVID-19, you've lost your job, or you've had to shut down your business. I mean, in every aspect of our life today, I keep hearing stories of hopelessness. And I really think it's something that we have to continue to really message to our community that there is hope out there. And that's what I hope to do with this initiative. And I think what it's really exciting is this is tangible.
Right.
And Catherine always talks about it like people always think of hope as a wish,
Right.
but we need to start thinking of hope as something that is obtainable.
Right.
And so it really sort of changes the concept in your mind, how we embrace hope. And I hope to do that as a city.
Right.
So she has an incredible curriculum that will be free to all of our residents here in the city of Reno. We have different initiatives under our Hopeful Cities project, and it's very, very cool. As you know, we've also rolled out Talkspace. We'll get more into that in January, but it will be a comprehensive initiative around hope and the outcomes of what that can do for a city. So I'm really grateful to have your expertise at the table. So thank you so much, Dr. Belfort, and happy birthday.
Thank you, but thank you for having me here. Appreciate it.
No pun intended. We hope you have a great birthday. And I'm going to send it over
I can
to
use
Catherine. Thank you. All right, Catherine Getsky, tell us all about iFred, what you've been doing. Your background is impressive as well. And I'm just grateful to have you and be your partner with our Hopeful Cities initiative.
Thank you. I am super excited to be here today. And thank you so much, Dr. Belfort and Mayor Hillary Sheev for doing this, and the city of Reno. It's super exciting. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. So let's see how this goes, just to share what we're doing for Hopeful Cities. So there's a website, hopefulcities.org, that anyone can go to. And again, this is really hope in action. So hopelessness has been defined as a feeling of despair and a sense of helplessness. So there's an emotional component to hopelessness, and then there's a motivational component. And so what we aim to do is teach people how to get from despair to positive feelings, and how to get from helplessness to inspired action. So if you go to our website, you can sign up for updates. The first thing we've done is we've created a 30-day hope challenge. So it's 30 days, you get an email a day, and it's one thing you can do to take action in your life towards hope. That's something that anyone throughout the city can access. As we said too, you can measure your hope. So if you're interested in kind of what is hope all about and how do people measure it, you can go to this link and it'll actually take you to hope scales where you can take the hope test. We have gardens for hope, teach hope. So this will actually take you to Hopeful Minds, which is our website. We have a free curriculum that anyone can go and download that teaches the how-to of hope. It's for K through 6, but you can really use it for any ages. And we also have a parent's guide on the website. And also, if you're interested in learning about the research around hope, you can go to Why Hope on here. We go through a lot of the studies on hope. There are links to all the hope research on here. It's really been very fascinating for me to study the science of hope and all of the positive outcomes in life related to hope. And that hopelessness is predictive of things like addiction, violence against self, actually weapon carrying at school, which I find really fascinating. So if we want to deal with violence in the school system, we also have to address hopelessness, which is really an underlying cause. Hope predicts how long you live more so it predicts how well you'll do in school more so than your GPA. So there are a lot of really fascinating studies around hope. But this is really the place where you go and to get information about the campaign itself. We also have yard signs, we'll have billboards to really spread the message throughout the community about hope. The 30-day challenge, there's a link on the website, and that takes you to how you sign up for the challenge itself. Let's see, lots of really cool, so there's lots of really cool stuff and how we're kind of operationalizing hope throughout the city. You can also go to our cities page, and we have a Reno page that will share the specific resources in Reno for hope. As the mayor mentioned, there's a free Talkspace therapy throughout the city. You can access that here. We've also met and been working with the local therapists. They've provided an outline, a spreadsheet where you can actually download it and find local support in Reno itself. So I'm really excited about the campaign. I'm excited to launch this in Reno and see, I'll just stop the share, but see how it goes throughout the city. But again, the aim is to teach as we talk. So to teach, we have 5 keys for hope. We have a workplace campaign. You can print posters and put in your workplace. You can engage your workplaces on the challenge. But it's really teaching the how-to of hope as we kind of talk. So excited to launch it.
Well, that's fantastic. So I have one of the Hopeful Minds workbooks right here. And from what I understand, all the workbooks will be free to anyone that wants them. And I kind of think this is a great way to sort of do exercises with your children, and sort of, because we're all at home right now, especially with parents that want to kind of give their children something to do, but also something really positive to do. These workbooks are incredible, and they'll be free to anyone in the city of Reno. But this one is pretty massive. This is the educator's guide. So this is all, we're going to get these into the hands of all of our educators, as many as possible. So I'm really excited about that. But I really believe that, you know, this is the next stage of what we've really got to start focusing on, is our behavioral health and what that looks like as we start to climb out of this pandemic. Because unfortunately, I think for years to come, it's going to have certainly taken a toll on so many people. And that's why I felt so passionate about bringing it to our city and making sure that we are paying attention to our mental wellness. I think that that's going to be absolutely critical. And I thought that was interesting. What Dr. Belfer said is that he realized that doctors, when they were talking about their next procedure or whatever that looked like, that he was basically offering hope. And I think in any capacity now more than ever, we've got to be offering hope. That's just really got to be the root of what we do, because we do know that whenever we're feeling anxiety and depression, that it does feel like hopelessness. And if you understand anything about suicide, that's a big root of it, is that massive hopelessness that sort of comes over you like that dark cloud that you just can't get rid of. And we know that we're seeing higher rates of suicide because of this pandemic. And so as a city, I want to make sure that we are taking care of our behavioral health and giving our city the tools that we need to make sure that we're addressing it now more than ever. So I'm really, really excited. These workbooks are amazing. So anyone on this presser, please get it, download it, whatever you need to do, or we'll get you some, but they are just fantastic. So your work is just, it's phenomenal, but all the science of hope is tremendous. I think if we can get to as many people as possible, we can really make a difference. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And again, you can't be in the stress response and hopeful at the same time. And we have so much elevated stress right now with everything that's happening, so much change. And in our upstairs brain, we teach our kids is where we're creative and problem solving and overcoming challenges. And so it's really important that we learn how, you know, the first key to hope is learning how to identify that stress response. And understanding what we're feeling and what it's telling us, and then working to get back into that problem solving mode. So thank you for leading us there. It's really wonderful.
Well, I'm excited, and just touch on, because I also thought it was interesting, the outcomes in athletics when you're teaching athletes about hope. What was what are your findings?
Yeah, it's actually, and these aren't our findings, these are findings related to the scales that we use as we measure hope. It's actually predictive of your athletic performance more so than your ability. So it's really fun when we teach kids about hope. We want them to aspire to hope. We want athletes talking about how they use their hope. I mean, because when you think about hope, it's a vision for something, and it's the ability to get there. And that is a lot of what we're doing in athletes. We have a vision for achieving something, and then can we find our way there? And so your level of hope and of children's hope is so important to really all aspects of life.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Well, thank you so much. I'm super excited to, like I said, get it in the hands of everyone we possibly can throughout our city, and hopefully in other cities as we continue to roll this out.